Alright, welcome back guys, FNUSA57 here. I apologize I haven't been uploading stuff too much due to the fact I was sick over the holiday, but today I will be showing you how to master the new map, ALLFARTHERS ARENA. It's relatively simple to do, and there are multiple ways that you can do it, but I will show you what I prefer to run and, in my opinion, what is the easiest way to run it. Alright, so basically when you load in, what you're looking to do, you can set up on either spawn. I like to set up on this spawn. You do have the option to retreat in the back. You're going to want, in my opinion, Dell, Baird, Jack, JD. The fifth character is up to you. Kate or a second JD works really well. In this particular case, that's what we're doing, is we're running a second JD, but it's not really 100% essential. Now, once our next person gets in here, you're going to grab the Fabricator. You want to kind of put the Fabricator around this spot, and then we're going to run a relatively minimal setup, but the only thing that's 100% crucial for you to get is you have to get a level 3 or 4 fence up on this side to block the juvies and sires that come up, and then you're only dealing with 3 main lanes. The 2 lanes here in the front, and then this 1 lane over here on the right. And that's it. There is one thing that you will want to do if you have a jack. If you can grab the other ammo box and bring it over to this side, that would be awesome. And the reason why you grab the ammo box from that side and you bring it to this side, so that it continues to respawn over here.
Moving the Fabricator. Fabricator, deploy. We got 30 seconds to regroup.
And then it's quite simple. Our Jack right now has very low optimizer. He only has level 3 optimizer. So it's not worth it to go for the forge first. I recommend going for a couple barriers first.
Take that.
On this map you do need more barriers than on other maps, but it's a pretty simple setup. Fabricator can go here or it can go here. I prefer to have it here, but personal preference. You want Baird to own all of the barriers. This way, for the moment, you can use Baird's bleed on the barriers, even if they do fix that or change it if they didn't intend for it to be that way. Then, at that point, you could let Dell own the barriers, but it doesn't really matter too terribly much. For the moment, you let Baird own them. Dell will own everything else, and you make sure that if you're running Baird and Dell, you go ahead and have their cards set up so that Dell will have efficient fabrication, reinforced fabrication, armor plating, overclocked locker, and his 5th card is personal preference. Baird, you want to run global overclocked locker, global sentry upgrade, bloody support, experimental weapons, and precision repair. If you have a Jack, you want them to run portable resupply. You want them to run optimizer, healing reach, and healing upgrade. The 5th card is up to them. And then JDs, I personally recommend that they run this setup. There's a couple different setups that you can use, but I recommend using Confirmed Kill, Razor Hail, Custom Boom Shot, Custom Lancer GL, and Launcher Capacity. So you kind of hunker down for a little bit. We've got 3 level 1 wires up. We'll probably have 4 wires up and then go for the forge.
Busted that tracker. Reloading. one. I popped the tracker.
So just kind of hunker down.
TR1 spotted.
You want to go through this relatively as fast as possible, but
TR1 marked.
this video will be longer because I'm going to show you the entire setup. Obviously, your RNG on what enemies you get can be different. And just try and grab as much of the power while it's double stacked power. The hardest part is pretty much like the first 15 waves. The first 15 waves and then wave 45 and 50, those will be the hardest. If you can get grenades, it doesn't hurt to have an extra grenade, but a few things also you'd want to make sure if you do this with a Keegan that you give JD a boom shot, because that's super helpful. I would also recommend skipping the wave. You do get some more points, more score. If you're doing a leaderboard run, then obviously everybody would be skipping and running score boost cards and stuff like that. But we're just here to play it and get it done on Master so that we have it done.
Power cooking.
Another thing that's important is that you let Baird get a couple kills. Make sure that you, if there's like a downed enemy at the end of the wave or something, go ahead and let Baird finish him off with the M-bar, because that will activate his precision repairs card, and that thereby allows him to go ahead and repair all of the fortifications.
Oh, I hate to be you.
Sedition will not be tolerated.
Nailed it. Got a shepherd.
Oh, come on, that guy's got no health. And letting Baird repair all of the fortifications saves a lot on, well, not upgrades, unfortunately. I wish it would make it cheaper, but it saves a lot on repair costs. The only thing that you'll really have to pay for is if something gets destroyed, or if, for whatever reason, you build sentry guns. Which you can build a couple sentry guns. Later on, I'll usually build a couple, but deposit, and then you want to make sure that Jack has his forge.
Nice.
Now what you want to do is in between waves, you want to red that forge so it doesn't really take that much damage. Excuse me. It's a little bit different with a low level optimizer, so like a low level Jack. You can't just pour all your money into the forge right off the bat, because you won't really be getting your money back.
Gotta be kidding me. Reject destroyed. Jack is offline. TV reject. I owe you one. The line for you.
You can also like switch to your Nasher, and if you blow off the legs on one of those rejects,
Revive me. Only two left. Keep going. Heavy mark.
and that is a very bad reset there. We can still make it, but that was a bad mess up, letting them get the forge destroyed. So now we really need to let Jack frickin' forge. Jack, you got a bunch of guns at the forge.
Keep them coming. Nice job, team. We're looking
It also helps if you go ahead and mark weapons.
throwing frag.
In this particular case where we have 2 JDs, if one JD buys grenades, you should give 2 to the other. It's much more efficient that way, since we're already behind on money.
Time's up. They're here.
You can still make it, it's just that's a big expense. We would have had a level 2 forge, but we don't now, so it's going to be a little bit of a rocky run.
Yeah, take a bite of that, dipshit.
It's like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you really have to have
Okay, let's go.
like everyone on point. Both JDs have to be on point, or your Kate if you have a Kate.
Reject. Just like that, taught me. Force deployed.
You want to make sure that you can land your crit hits. And don't be afraid to take a hit from like a DR1 so that it doesn't do damage to your fortifications. Try and down that guy.
Oh, this is not ideal. You won't do that again.
I don't know why that guy was sitting there taking cover.
Lobotomized. Yeah, this'll work.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit rocky.
I'm around. Ready to rock and roll. What's what I found?
And then since you should be playing with a coordinated team, it's generally best if you run weapons and help Jack get some of these guns. Because we're kind of doing things a little bit out of order. Normally, you get a couple wires out, forge to 2 or 3, and then go ahead and get the lockers. But when you have a low-level Jack, it's not worth it.
Grenades in place.
I have to get rid of the shocks that I have real quick before you can give me any grenades. Now you should be able to give me grenades. Thank you. Obviously, you want all players alive at the end of the round. That's the last enemy.
I like getting hands on.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill myself to get a second GL.
That won't be the last of them. Let's start them.
But when you're working with people with low level stuff, you don't really want to kill yourself too early on, because you'll miss out on any of the power from weapons that are forged while you're dead, or power that's picked up while you're dead.
We've got enemy
And then I'm going to drop my Nasher here at the forge so that that can be forged. And by doing that, it pays for the grenades.
weapons locker deployed.
But our Jack is not forging.
Dead. Be my friend. Nice work. Watch out, I'm coming for you. Debunked him. Down
And you really just have to take this slow.
Grenadier spotted. Beautiful thing. Oh, look what I found. Right left, brace for charge. There are one spotted. Face them. Tough guy. Get off! Oh man.
That didn't
End of the road.
work out quite as well. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a rocky run. So it all just depends on the team that you have and how comfortable everyone is with each other. So
I'll take that.
then if you have a hand, go ahead and try to get some weapons for Jack. Especially the high ticket weapons like the Nashers and shit. If the round's literally about to end, then pick it up before the weapon disappears. Because remember, player dropped weapons will disappear at the start of a round.
Drone spotted. You're dead. Death from above. Guardian down.
I had to use my death from above, so just keep that in mind. I don't have it.
Yes, please.
Coordination between your team is also extremely important.
Way to go, kid. Oh, let's rock. Gonna need a medic. I gotta learn to count my shots.
It can be hard with all the M bars. Like, you'll take some hits and go down.
Throw the lead. Sweet. Give me that right there. Drone's dead. Oh, look what I found.
So then, as soon as you can, you want to go ahead and help your team run guns. And so far, you can drop guns by just holding the direction on the D-pad that the weapon is equipped in.
Sniper.
As I mentioned at the start of the video, the first 15 waves are the hardest because you barely have any fortifications and everything is just pushing in to your spawn. So if people aren't coordinated, then it gets difficult.
Barrier deployed.
If you can, grab any weapons. Don't really worry too much about how fast you skip, because you want to make sure that you get all the guns burnt that you possibly can. And my Jack is not paying attention.
Enemies incoming. Guns up.
Alright, I'm still working with a level 1 locker right now. That is suboptimal.
Weapons locker upgraded. Guardian spotted. I need ammo. Ready to rock and roll. Suck it, dickwad. Hey, get out of the way.
Left side's getting pushed hard. Switching GLs. Now that I have a level 2 locker, I should say. I can do a little bit more. You will get pushed back a bit. It's bound to happen. Just don't lose your cool.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Way to go, kid.
Beautiful thing.
Mine now.
I am buying frag grenades, and then I'll give 2 to the other JD.
Here.
JD, hold still.
Look what we have here.
Oh shit, hang on. That guy will bleed and go down.
Here's some ammo.
And this way it's very efficient. And then like I can go ahead and run out here. And basically I kill myself to get another grenade launcher or Lancer GL. But since the grenades cost 500, you want to make the grenades as efficient as possible.
Barrier repaired.
And then what you do is you drop your Nasher at the forge, and Jack can forge your Nasher, which if they have maxed optimizer and a level 4 forge, you get 450 power back for each person.
Barrier beautifully deployed. Scratch one drone.
Shout out to my teammates for helping me out with this, especially Chronic and Misfit. I'm good with what I have right now. I've got 3 GLs, so I'll be good.
Barrier upgraded.
I'm just gonna hold on to a shock for the moment. It'll get easier.
Set up a barrier.
It'll definitely get easier, but it's not gonna be like a cakewalk.
Now this will do. Enemies incoming.
I would also recommend that you don't really kill things too far away. Simply because you need Jack to actually be able to get the guns and scrap them. But right now, yeah, you kind of want to
Over here.
murder stuff.
Dead. Tapped on that. Bit sloppy.
You kind of gotta wait.
Guardian spotted. Death from above.
You gotta wait for the Guardian to actually be still. Kind of hold your cool when you're getting pushed by those DR1s.
Watch out, I'm coming for you.
Flashbang.
And then make sure that you have your GL back on the locker before the round ends. And then it's always a good idea, you pick up the power, rip off any heavy weapons,
That'll work.
bring those back for Jack, assuming your Jack is on point.
I'll take that.
You can start skipping more in the later waves, but the early waves, you usually don't want to skip that much.
Hey, can always use more.
Especially, like, I'm a little behind because it's a boss wave. I should have already had a GL in my hands. Wait for that carrier, or not carrier, sorry, but wait for that Kestrel to hold still.
Flashbang.
And then just murder its face.
I need somebody over here!
Next up is going to be that Guardian. Save your death from above for the Guardian. It's far easier to deal with a Guardian with death from above than it is to hit it with the GL.
Got him!
We almost lost you there.
That's why I held on to that shock.
Hey, get out of the way. Give me that right there.
Jack needs to be very careful flying around because he will go down easily.
One left!
Oh, look what I found.
This is going to be a little bit of a longer run. It's definitely not a speed run. And then we had that little problem with the forge getting destroyed in the beginning. So I always recommend you put 1 point into your ultimate cooldown.
Barrier upgraded. Set up a barrier.
Our Jack isn't quite on point.
I'll put this to good use.
He's having a hard time with weapons. Keep in mind that weapons disappear at the start of a wave if they're dropped by a player.
Barrier upgraded.
Barrier deployed!
Closing the kill. Damn it, not again.
Alright, so we got leeches now. Leeches you definitely don't want on the first 10 waves. But they're not as bad on the like second and third 10 waves. I like getting leeches on the second set of 10 waves. Only because of the fact that that means you're going to get your boom shots. So for JDs, that means free boom shots, as opposed to actually having to buy the boom shot.
Barrier deployed! Ready to rock and roll!
Barrier.
Beautifully deployed!
And then you kind of just let the engineers run their wires out where they need to be. Jack should be running weapons. And if you do have two JDs, you want both JDs to be running weapons. Pretty much everybody should be running weapons for Jack so you can get set up. The faster you get set up, the easier that this is.
Barrier deployed.
But leech waves don't give you a whole lot of weapons.
Get me up.
Barrier beautifully deployed!
Barrier deployed.
It's definitely not easy to master, but when everybody's communicating, it makes it doable.
Nice work, everyone. Let's shore up these defenses and get ready for more.
Jack's got a couple guns at the forge again. Make sure I buy the right thing.
Barrier deployed.
There's 3 barriers at the forge. You can move them where you need them. It's also very important that the different characters buy different fortifications to keep the cost down, because if you let the engineer buy all the fortifications, then the engineer's cost is going to go through the roof to buy them.
Barrier deployed.
Nice work.
I need ammo. Oh, look what I found.
Plenty more where that came from.
Well, that leech got through. Leech waves are a pain because the leeches, they barely take off any of that red bar. And they're not really worth much power. And on top of that, they don't drop weapons. So you don't have any weapons that you can forge either.
Damn it, not again.
You can still crawl?
Also, you want to prioritize weapons like the Marksa, the Nasher, anything that's an explosive weapon. And really don't let enemies crawl in the barriers because they'll just constantly do damage to the barrier.
Barrier deployed.
But if you prioritize the explosive weapons and the weapons that give you more power when they're scrapped, it'll help out a lot. Especially when you're running with, like, lower optimizer or just lower level characters, period. You can rely a bit more on the fortifications. You can't rely completely on fortifications because, well, they'll get destroyed. You can also try and take the energy tap if you want, but depending on where the energy tap spawns, most of the time it's not worth it in my opinion.
That won't be the last of them. Let's stock up and rebuild.
So you can see how that Marksa that Jack just burnt was worth a lot more power than the hammer burst.
Barrier upgraded.
Pretty much around like round 15, you can safely start skipping. You should have everything that you need set up by then.
Enemies incoming. Brace yourself.
GLs can also be used to just rain on those stairs where the enemies are spawning.
Get back here. We're not done yet.
Yeah, take a bite of that, dipshit.
Got a drone. Let's do this.
Every once in a while, if you're on the right, you gotta throw a couple GLs on that right side. Since execution rules are on, the wires won't actually kill an enemy.
You had it coming. How to meet your maker. Bet they're ugly. See, the swarm is why I can't have nice things. Securing the tap. Crawling away? Yeah, that's not gonna help.
Damn it, not again. Let's do this. Got a hunter. Time to face the music, tough guy.
Last one. Put it down. Secure the tap.
See, I don't like moving the barriers out too much further than where they're at. You can if you want to, but then it actually just slows it down too much.
Weapons locker deployed.
You have to remember with execution rules, it slows it down because of the fact that only the JDs or heavy weapons can actually hit that far on the cross map.
Weapons locker deployed.
Ready to rock and roll.
So, I mean, I like to leave the barriers where they're at. But you can push them out, like, if you see where I'm aiming, you can push them out about that far if you want. And that's pretty much the setup.
You're obsolete, buddy. Nice work, JD.
Closing the kill.
Drop one. I got a drone.
Take that. Bye. Thanks for playing. That's what I found.
And then you just want to spam
Drone.
these GL rounds. Like, unless you're trying to save an enemy for Jack to run weapons, you just want to make sure that you spam GL rounds. Sadly for Masters, your characters have to be pretty decent level. It's possible to do it with various different groups, and it's possible to do it with various level characters, but I don't recommend it, since it's just going to make the run more difficult and more time consuming.
What do we have here?
Securing the tab.
I'm waiting. We should be getting boom shots soon, so I'm not going to buy a boom shot.
Stay here.
It's not worth it. We don't have enough in the bank, and since we only have level 3 optimizer, we're not going to make money as quickly as we should.
Death from above. Crawling away? Yeah, that's not gonna help.
Another reject down.
There we go. That sentinel should bleed now. You gotta keep some damage on him, otherwise he's gonna friggin' regen all of his shit. There we go. Got him. And of course we got a second one.
Dropped one.
Sentinels and Guardians are such a pain in the ass on this map.
Sentinel mark.
Where are you going? You're gonna miss out on my surprise.
Just because it's like constantly moving before your GL shots can actually land on it. This is where having a Kate is like awesome.
Thanks, Bill. Weapons locker deployed.
Heads down. Sentinel. Sentinel.
Kate can just get like right underneath the sentinel and frickin' murder it with a shotgun. Right now we've got 2 down, 3 down. Jack's not paying attention. Sentinel's gonna end up regenning all of its fricking health.
Beautiful thing. Yeah.
Now secured. Medic.
Heads down. Sentinel.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Now it's gonna go down. Direct hit. It's not a bad idea for one of the JDs to take a salvo, because it really helps out with the flyers. We could have easily wiped there. Having a boom shot does help with flyers, but it's a toss-up. When you have enough money to buy the boom shot right away, it's great, but once again, if you don't have enough money, then it's kind of dog shit.
Throwing frag. Got him.
So like for me right now, I'm gonna leave this GL on my locker. I've got 3 GLs and I left 1 salvo. The salvo I'm not really gonna use that much, but it's good to have something in a pinch as opposed to just your GL.
Guns up. Let's do this.
You're boring. Oh, damn.
I do have level 5 Razor Hail as well, so that helps out.
Just stay dead. Fast gun.
I need some ammo over here.
Also, Marxes do like stupid damage to you, so you have to be really careful of the hunters when you're playing like this as a JD and you're just raining grenades. You do have to be careful. And you have to trust your teammates.
Leave my friend.
Go.
I need some ammo over here.
Alright, there's only 3 enemies out, so I'm gonna try and find my boom shot.
Oh, look what I found.
I'm still looking for a boom shot. Well, there's a boom shot scion up.
Man, the crystals do not make them look less ugly. Come on, try next time.
All right, collecting from the tap.
If we're gonna have this tap here, it's kind of hard to keep it, so somebody needs to definitely collect from it while they can. Otherwise, don't even worry about the tap.
Energy collector.
Nice job, team. We're looking good.
Mostly.
Just drop the boom and I'll pick it up.
This will do.
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rotate that and hold this for the moment.
Just leave it
Lying around.
I have a little bit of a unusual setup.
Decoy is up. Decoy upgrade.
Time's up.
Look what I found.
Oh no. Get back here. We're not done yet.
Decoy deployed. What a waste of ugly.
And then you use the boom shot to go ahead and kill the bastions that are shielding the units, which will just walk right into your spawn.
Got him.
When you see those fences on the right taking some damage, you want to go ahead and throw a nice couple rockets on them.
That's it.
When you need to, go ahead and put your boom shot back on the locker.
Look what I found.
Scratch one drone. Let's do this.
And see, this is why I have my salvo. Flying shit,
Really?
that salvo's pretty useful on.
Hey, help me. Back in your hole. Next.
Collecting from tap.
Like I said, on this map, you've got those 2 main lanes down the front, and everybody's got to be on point.
Energy collector.
If you let one bastion in or one flyer in, you can lose your fortifications pretty quick. And just because I run this setup doesn't mean that you have to run this setup, there's various different team comps that you could run if you wanted to. When your boom shot's full, I'd recommend
Here they come.
going ahead and putting that on your back so that you have those free locker slots.
Sure, hit. Damn it, not again.
Faster sighted!
Definitely try and take out like any of the scions.
Zion's dead. Take that.
That bastion will bleed out.
Clear.
Where are you going? This is what you came for.
Here, Jack.
Make sure you guys don't group up in the center, or that can be suicide.
Juicy. All left.
And you got to make sure that your boom shot is full every round. If your boom shot isn't full every round, then
Take that.
it's going to hurt. Because you can kill bastions with the salvo, you can kill them with grenades. There's a bunch of stuff that you can actually kill the bastion with, but the boom shot is, like, by far the best.
Energy cap repaired.
Oh, look what I found.
Now, since I don't have any grenades, I'm actually going to take a flash. It's useful to stun a boss, should a boss come right up in your shit.
Now we're having fun. Okay, let's get this done. Leave this lying around. Nice.
And then you really want to make sure that you work on getting your ultimate cooldown up as much as possible as JD. Your death from above is a lifesaver in many situations.
Cap upgraded.
Time's up. Barrier deployed. Barrier upgraded.
Oh, yeah.
Bastion going down.
Not even a little tired of this.
Bye. Thanks for playing.
Pouncers are another thing that it doesn't hurt to
Pour it out.
use a boom shot on.
What I found.
You can help out the JD on the other side by boom shotting. Remember, if you hit the shield, like the actual enemy that's being shielded by the bastion, then you will do damage to the bastion. It's also important to take down those pouncers as soon as they come within range.
Leave my friend.
5 left. They're charging.
Wasted a scion. Yeah, this'll work.
So go ahead and put your boom shot back on the locker.
Oh, you can't stop this.
You got to get rid of that enemy there. I'm having to do a little bit more than what I should have to do. It's almost like I am the only JD here.
Nice job, team. We're looking good.
Mostly. Barriers placed.
Tap empty.
You could also do this with a Keegan too, but you'll need to focus more on lockers. At the moment, I'm splitting my money between perks and depositing. Of course we would get a matriarch. Alright, I can kill this. I just gotta pre-active that.
Oh shit, we gotta make that from above.
And then that'll bleed out. And that is how you handle a matriarch. You want to make sure that you pre-active your Lancer.
Damn it, not again. Oh, look what I found.
What's this room? Yes, please.
If you're not using Baird's barriers and JD's just hammering GL shots, then you'd want to start putting up a couple sentry guns in the front, and those will actually kill the downed enemies.
Oh, what's the matter? Not feeling good? Damn it, not again.
Took out that bouncer.
Alright, so now we've got a second.
Plenty more where that came from.
Oh, there was a torque bow over there too.
Energy.
Torque bows are worth a lot.
I've got the energy. Energy.
As you can see, I did like 566,000 damage. So I'll go ahead and grab my GL, throw my boom shot back on the locker. I don't quite have enough for my next cooldown. I like to get my cooldown up so I can use my alt twice in a wave. And sadly, our skip button is broken. This is going to be a long run because we can't skip.
We've got company.
If you guys want, you can fast forward through the video. I'm not going to cut anything out so you can see how everything plays out.
Ammo over here.
Grab my boom shot back now that it's full. But if you want to just skip to the end of the video and, you know, see how we handle the last few waves, you can do that as well.
That's how it's done.
I just can't believe that our skip button broke out so early. It's a random, like, malfunction that they just started having in Operation 2. But there's a lot of stuff that isn't working correct in Operation 2, in all honesty. Like, I'm missing a bunch of rewards. It's, like, ridiculous. Nothing should ever be placed in the enemy spawn. It is simply going to slow down the wave, and then you'll be spending a lot of money repairing. And you won't be able to restock ammo, so... everybody's just leaving this energy tap, so there's not really much of a point in us doing that. Like I said, this was going to be a bit of a rocky run.
Shouldn't have.
Other than Chronic and Misfit, I don't know the other guys in the lobby, so... if your skip breaks, like the ability to skip breaks out, then just go ahead and buy a couple sentry guns and put them behind you. It'll help with the flyers and other crap.
Good kill! I'm taking my initiative back. I need ammo! That Shepard is...
Now, once we have a couple sentries behind us, I'm actually going to get rid of that salvo that's on my locker, because there really won't be much of a reason for me to keep it.
You even trying?
I'll take that. Too easy. Hacker down.
I need some ammo over here! Next!
All right, collecting from the tap.
If you have this energy tap, you might as well run out and grab it. I'm kind of surprised that we still have it.
Energy collector. Energy tap upgraded.
Yes, clean sweep! Now let's get ready for more!
Securing the tap. I'll put this to good use.
But yeah, it's really quite a shame when the game bugs out and you can no longer vote to skip the wave because you lose 20 seconds per wave. And that adds up. I believe it's like 14 minutes or something like that that we're going to lose out on.
Really? Now? I'll take that.
But eventually you'll put a sentry gun like on the right side, put a couple on each lane in the front just to kill the down stuff.
Oh man, that sucks for you.
Beat it, asshole!
4 left.
Reject down! Time to meet your maker. Bet they're ugly.
Just kind of run out, try and find the downed enemy.
That's a knockout!
All right, collecting from the
All
tap.
clear! Now let's shore up our defenses!
Energy collector. Tap upgraded.
This is definitely more fortifications than you need. But considering that skip is broken, it's like,
Enemies incoming.
might as well have as many fortifications as you want at this point.
Okay. Sentry's reloading. Closing the kill. Ah, just stay there.
Drop one!
I just wish that the skip functionality had not glitched out.
Keep it up!
You will get a lot of Hail Mary ribbons on this shit. Basically, you're going to be shooting across the map with your GL pretty much the entire time.
Look what I found. You even trying?
Oh, I caught a salvo there.
Look at you! Not so tough after all!
Fast another DB.
Down to 2!
Really, it should be someone other than a JD's job to get the energy tap, but
Out of the nest. Into the grave. Emptying
I'll get the energy tap since I'm always running out here to pick up some power and make these waves go by faster.
energy collector.
As long as you start to collect the energy tap before the leaderboard screen shows up, you can actually collect it. You just keep holding the button to collect it while the leaderboard screen is up.
I'll put this to good use.
The nice thing about having the ammo boxes right here is you can go ahead and grab one of them to refill your boom shot. And sometimes I like to tag a flashbang right there, just in case something gets through the fence and the turret.
Reject.
And then obviously when you get these waves where you can have like stumps or wardens, things of that nature, you want to shred them as fast as possible because they remove a large chunk of the red bar, the red wave bar.
Get me out. That's how it's done.
I need some ammo over here!
Let's do this. Yeah, take a bite of that, dipshit. Reject down.
Sadly with this, even though you're playing on Master, you actually get the same amount of honor regardless of the difficulty that you play on. That's something that I would like to see them change because it takes a hell of a lot longer to run even the same map. Like, I can run this on Inconceivable with 2 times health off and be done in like an hour and 45 minutes.
Tap upgrade.
Obviously, some of it will depend upon the RNG of what enemies spawn and how good your team is. And whether or not skip breaks.
Got it.
Another big problem is if you try to spawn trap the enemies, you actually have that flag there that blocks your shot. That wall there that blocks your shot. And then you can't hit anything here on the right. So, I don't like pushing their spawn much more. Like, this is actually further out on the fortifications than I pretty much have ever placed barriers.
Tier 1 down.
Scrap! Damn it, not again!
And obviously on Masters, they have so much health that
And down goes.
you have to use more ammo. I like to just throw a GL shot on that right side since I can't see whether something's in the wire or not.
Shot on down! I gotta learn to count my shots.
Time to face the music, tough guy.
Five left! They're coming in!
Honestly, I should see even more rockets raining down from the second JD, but it really feels like we don't have a second JD right now.
The energy tap is full.
Like I said, that doesn't matter. You can run multiple different character combinations. Kate is really good, especially initially, like the initial 15 waves when enemies are pushing in and you don't have your fences up. She can just sit on one of the sides with a shotgun, especially if the engineer gives her their overkill at the start of the game. Keegan can give a boom shot to the JD and then kill himself and get another boom shot back, and he's kind of like a mini JD. There's options, to say the least. But I will be getting rid of my salvo here shortly. We have our 2 decoys up. Like I said, you could have been skipping pretty much every one of these waves from about 15 on, but the game decided that it was going to malfunction and we can't skip. So it will be a longer run. Oh. You got to be careful of that right side. That's why I placed my stun grenade where I did. On Master, these guys can take a huge beating. Oh, no one called out the Guardian. Oh. He was still bleeding. I couldn't quite get that last hit on him.
Oh, you want some? Yeah, we're having fun.
That was definitely too close for comfort.
Yep, definitely dead.
Oh, surprise! You're dead.
That last guy tried to run away from me. That's why I always carry my boom shot out. It's so much easier to kill the last enemy, especially if they're like downed or just trying to crawl around a corner or something, if you use your boom shot.
Nice work, everyone.
And then what you want to do is you want to come back, pick up your GL, and then take one of the ammo boxes if it's available to restock your spent round for the boom shot. But you have to coordinate with the rest of your team, otherwise the rest of your team will end up taking the ammo boxes. And I'm just going to plant another stun. It's probably better if you let one of your teammates carry stuns and you carry frags, and then you can plant a frag there and they plant a stun. That's like the most effective combo, but you have to be super coordinated for that to work. You also always want to fire at least 2 GL rounds. If you don't fire 2 GL rounds, you're not going to kill the enemy.
Guardian spotted.
Eat shit and die.
And this is exactly why I kept my salvo. I can start to do damage on this thing.
Sniper!
I don't have my ult back.
Get up!
Don't know where Jack is. Jack should really be paying a little bit more attention.
Guardian!
There we go. Now that Guardian's dead.
Ammo over here!
Guardian just got pounded.
Oh, look what I found! Where's the shot?
That got a little hairy. The salvo works out better on Inconceivable than it does on Master. It's still nice to have, though.
Oh, look what I found.
That guy will bleed out.
Orders at my command.
Now I just have to make sure that I can get back and actually get one of those ammo boxes. It makes it easier than having to rotate weapons on the locker.
Cap upgraded.
Time to fortify! Mine.
This time I'm actually going to take
I know.
both boxes.
Now this will do. Slick.
And I'm going to put 1 point into my Lancer. 1 point into crit, and that's all I'm going to do on the crit. Ammo regen is useless.
Time's up! Here they come!
Incoming flash! Bye! Thanks for playing! Need some ammo over here!
Ready to rock and roll! Meet my friend!
Grab on that! Oh wait, shit. Okay.
What a waste of ugly! Ugh, that is dead. Heavy, dead! You even trying? Incoming flash!
We've got too many snipers up there.
Revive me!
Neutralized.
Woohoo, nice!
If you want, you can execute the last enemy and you get another ribbon, a coup de grace ribbon. But I'm not really there for ribbons, because as long as you get your, like, I think you need 30 or 33 ribbons or something like that. As long as you get that, you're good.
We got 30 seconds to regroup.
Leave this lying around? Good to go.
If you want, you can also plant 2 flashes. You can plant a flash, like,
Planet.
right there. And that'll help with pouncers. If they pounce up here, it'll stun them and give you time to hit them. And, of course, it's a flock. So what you want to do is you want to pre-active your GL.
Watch out, I'm coming for you!
And then save your ultimate, save your death from above for the flock. Or actually not the flock, sorry. If you have to use it on the flock, go ahead, but I would recommend that you save your death from above for the guardian that's going to come in.
Sentry, deployed!
Also, everyone can't focus solely on the flock. If everyone focuses solely on the flock, then the rest of the little stuff will get in and just wreck you.
Guardian destroyed!
Scratch one drone! Thanks, Del. That's much better.
I gotta learn to count my shots!
I'm going to have to replace my flash grenades. Once again, they're not like 100% essential. I like to have them, but just because I like to have them doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have them as well.
How's that for a fatal error?
Sniper down! I gotta learn to count my shots!
Because, see, unfortunately, it took out both of my flashes, but that's okay.
Not so nice knowing you. Yeah, pour it on.
So far, we're not doing too bad. Wave 30, about an hour and 15 minutes or so in. It's a little rocky run and slower than I would like it to be, but we're getting the job done. Oh, the energy tap is in a terrible spawn. It's literally in their spawn. Rip.
I'll put this to good use. Sweet.
Oh, we got Juvies and Imagos. That's awesome.
Gotcha. Want that juvie? Ready to rock and roll. Really? Now? Be my friend.
Just did you a favor. I missed him already.
Want that drone?
I need some ammo over here.
You get detention.
And you see how fast I am spamming my rockets? Basically, that's what you should be doing. You don't want to wait till you see the enemy to fire. If you wait till you see the enemy to fire, then it's already too late.
Yeah, this'll work. Nice work. That can't be the last of them. Resupply.
And regroup.
Securing the tap. Oh, for me? Shouldn't have.
Almost have enough to get my last perk.
That'll work.
Enemies incoming. Guns up.
Hot!
Orders ready. I gotta learn to count my shots. You're out. Got a drone. Oh, nice work.
What a waste of ugly!
I'll take that.
Good kill!
Oh, surprise! You're dead.
Three left! Thrown down!
Oh, nice work.
Okay, let's get this done. I'll take that.
Bam, there we go. Got my level 10 alt cooldown now. That's awesome. Now I'll focus on my assault rifle damage, and anything other than that will go into the Fabricator.
dipshit.
Keep it up!
Drone dead. Bomb should be detonated. Damn it, not again. Your evolution stops here. Got another.
Plenty more where that came from!
Drop one. Down to 4.
Ah, I can't quite get that guy that's down.
Come on, you even trying?
Oh, goodbye! Ready to rock and roll.
You can see how much longer it takes when you can't skip. Because we're basically all set up. Everything is done. If you wanted, you could get a couple more sentry guns, but the MGs in the back is pretty much all you need.
Good to go. Hands up, they're coming!
Got it, Juvie! Nice one!
I don't think so. Drone destroyed. You know, I fixed it like hood. That's how it's done. I need some ammo over here. Look what I found. No more screeching from you.
Oh, nice work. TV reject! Wasted a scion!
I gotta learn to count my shots. Let's do this. Securing the town. Last one. Put it down. You even trying?
Yeah, we're probably about another hour and a half. Sadly, just because the waves take a while.
Yes, clean sweep! Now let's get ready for more!
I know.
Force deployed. Hello, gorgeous. Nice.
Hands up, they're coming.
You're dead.
Stop down.
Oh, surprise! You're dead.
That's one drone. That all you got? Everybody?
Death from above!
Nice work. I need some ammo over here. What I found. Come on, we're fine next time. Towards the floor. Let's do this.
Yeah, we're having fun. Only 2 left. Keep going.
How's that feel?
There's a bit of a conversation in the party that's distracting me a little bit. I'll comment more on this conversation at the end of this round, or at the end of this game. For right now, I just want to focus on the game, though. Get the shit done as fast as possible.
Now this will do.
Mine.
I just don't want to get myself distracted from what I'm doing. If you get yourself distracted too much from what you're doing on this map, it's actually very easy for your entire team to wipe. It only takes one flying enemy and your entire team, sorry, not enemy, but your entire team will be dead.
Sentry, deployed! Sniper down! What a waste of...
I don't know if I can hit that guy. Oh, no. My drop shot skills are not on point. Should be able to hit that one, though. And then... is he going to bleed out? Yes, he did, but I caught a sniper bullet. Where is our Jack right now? Because I could use a revive before this guy pushes all the way into our spawn.
Finish them off. I need ammo. Power girl. Oh no. Nice work.
Sentry upgraded!
I am going to take the time to actually pick up some more of the power, but...
Securing the tab.
We got 30 seconds to reinforcements.
Sentry reloaded!
I know. Sentry is up. Yeah.
Oh, for me? Shouldn't have.
We got enemy reinforcements.
Out of the nest! To the grave!
Oh, he got shielded, of course.
Dead! I need ammo!
Just bleed that Bastion so we don't have to worry about it.
Drone destroyed!
I don't know why
Oh, look what I...
the JD on the left side is not raining grenades. I would have rather actually had a Keegan, but
I'll take that.
it's whatever.
Out of the nest. Into the grave.
You're good to go.
Back in your hole!
Crawl back in your nest.
Just go ahead and get rid of that guy as fast as possible. This map isn't too terribly bad on Master, but it can get very annoying.
Yes, clean sweep! Now let's get ready for more!
During the tap. Lick.
You just leave this lying around?
Right now.
There we go. Now I've got 6 rounds for my boom shot again. I really should switch this out, so I'm going to let that sit on there for a moment.
Fire eliminated.
Where are you going? You're gonna miss out on my surprise!
Perfect, just enough time to recharge the last 2 rounds.
Scratch one drone.
There you go!
Dead.
I missed him already.
That's a boom shot right side.
Destroyed! Flashbang
Incoming.
Take that! Get back here, we're not done yet.
I need ammo. I'll take that. Drone down. Shot.
Another dead sniper!
20 more where that came from. Oh, you're done. Finally, we're all clear. Got it.
Cool.
Now, next wave, I'm going to make sure that I have full ammo for everything, and I have my GL in my hands. This way I can pre-active the boss and do as much damage as possible.
Paps are down.
Oh no! You don't get to run away from this!
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Get back here! We're not done yet!
Oh, I don't know what our Jack is doing.
His bouncing days are over.
The pouncers on this can be really annoying, and that's where those sentry guns are really nice to have.
Plenty more where that came from.
Look what I found. Help me out here.
Good as new.
Really?
Fire, buddy.
One dead grub.
What a waste of us.
Back in the ground.
Where's this last enemy?
Zion down.
I'll take that. Oh, come on. We had fun. Now let's end it.
And I messed up and didn't have my GL in my hand. Oh. Rip. I'm not playing like I'm supposed to be playing.
That won't be the last of them. Let's stock up and rebuild.
I know. Perfect.
Alright, boss wave. Look alive, guys. What are we gonna get? Please be something easy. Swarmac. Swarmac. On your toes, guys.
Death from above.
Just keep me tethered. Just keep me tethered. I'm on pre-active. 2 down.
Yeah, come on.
My locker's down as well.
Hey, somebody come get me.
Damn it, not again.
He's just cross-mapping me right now. Don't snowball.
Someone get over here.
I have no locker at the moment. This is like the one boss that'll fuck everyone. And my locker just went down again.
Incoming flash grenade. Let's do this.
Stay down, stay down.
From above.
Do not cluster.
Barrier destroyed.
That is why no one can slack on Master. Absolutely no one can slack. We might not even be able to buy back everything right now.
One dead sniper. Oh yeah.
Let's do this.
Elite sniper. 3 left.
That shit almost went extremely south right there.
Where are you going? Take us out of my surprise.
Hey, nice job.
Time to build.
Got it. Sector reload.
Oh, so glad that's over.
Force deployed.
Swarmak is literally the worst boss that you can get on this shit.
Time's up. Here they come.
Alright, we got DBs. This is pretty good RNG for a 50 wave.
Now we're having fun.
Let's do this.
That Shepard's down!
That's how it's done. That is an X-Bot.
Nice one!
Damn it, not again.
Busted that tractor! Shepard march!
Grab that tracker. Took him down.
5 left! Brace for charge!
I need some ammo over here. I'll take that.
I definitely need to get some of this power.
Alright, clear!
CR Jack isn't actually forging that many weapons combined with the low level optimizer that he has, and I haven't actually been able to max my perks yet, but
Orders at my command.
normally you'll max your ultimate cooldown, and then I like to max my assault rifle damage. After that, everything else goes into whoever needs it for perks or into the Fabricator.
Next.
I'll take that.
Tracker destroyed.
Let's go back scrubbing toilets.
Drop one.
I'll take that.
I popped the tractor!
One dead bot.
Oh, nice work.
I need ammo.
We got 3 left.
Tracker destroyed.
You can't replace a good gear. We got 30 seconds till reinforcements. Now this will do.
For me, should there?
Sentry upgraded.
Time's up. Here they come. Gonna need a medic.
Ha, you're boring.
Neutralized. Oh, look what I found.
Keep it up! Let's do this! Too easy!
Four left.
Where are you going? This is what you came for!
I would also recommend that you place a sentry gun back here on this right side. It'll help a lot. It takes some of the pressure off of the JD or Keegan that's on the right side.
All clear!
Well, I can finally buy my level 6 assault rifle damage.
Put this to good use.
Well, so far we're not doing too bad. We might actually get this map done in only 2 hours.
I'll take that.
Time's up.
Be my friend!
I need ammo over here.
Your kids always turn on you. Drop one!
Good kill! Damn it, not yet!
Oh, I made my robot bed. I gotta lie in it.
Baird says some funny ass shit. I made my robot bed, guess now I gotta lie in it. That's kind of funny. Oh, dodge those salvos.
That spot's done!
Come on! Try next time!
Revive me! Shut them down! I'll take that! You've got nowhere to go!
Finish them off. That one's just a pile of junk. Okay, clear.
Well, that's alright. We're leaving a lot of power on the field, but it's okay. Alright. This is going to be a boss wave.
Let's get tactical.
It's a mini boss, but still people need to pay attention.
Thumbs up!
Oh. This is going to hurt.
Sentry upgraded! Head down, Sentinel!
JDs need to make it rain. Why am I the only one making it rain?
Death from above!
It's not the sentries that are putting in the work right now. It's our JDs that are putting in the work, but... Alright, here we go. Here comes the next one.
Sentinel.
Sentry reloading!
Come on. I saved this salvo from one of your next of kin. This salvo's from your ancestor.
Reloading. Sentry repaired.
Well, that's not good.
Count my shot.
Got him.
I don't have a boom shot now. I'll have to buy one. That's why I kept a little bit of money though, just in case. Boom shots are super expensive.
Oh, look what I found.
And at least I don't have that silly ass skin on there now.
Sentry reloading.
Damn it, not again.
Now I have 4 GLs, which is actually better to have.
Reload. Took him down.
Alright, not bad. I still did like 210,000 damage on that, even though I was dead for basically half the wave.
Finally, we're all clear.
Oh, I don't have my flashbangs anymore. That's a little disappointing.
I'll put this to good use.
Last 4 waves. We did lose about 14 minutes because of the skip button breaking, though.
Enemies incoming. Brace yourself.
Ha! Better luck next time. You're officially garbage. Where are you going? You're gonna miss out on my surprise.
Closing the kill. Ooh, nice.
DR1 destroyed.
I gotta learn to count my shots. Oh, look what I found.
Looks dead to me.
Ribeye Jack. Come on, baby.
Jack, you're as good as new.
I gotta learn to count my shots.
Eat shit and die.
Back to the scrap heap. Let's do this.
See you at the junkyard.
Damn it, not again.
Damn, Misfit beat me on damage. Wow.
All right, clear.
Mine now. Mine.
Looks like a good spot for it.
I'll take that.
Since I don't have any flashbangs, I put grenades down for those pouncers.
Enemies incoming. Guns up. Guardian. Guardian mark. Back in your hole. Death throw. from above! Target down. Oh, look what I found. Top one!
Take that!
That style's out of commission!
Time to meet your maker, Mr. Oak. You gotta help me out! Oh, thanks. Five left! Watch it!
Really? Now?
I'm down!
Oh! Oh, I hate to be you.
I owe you one!
Where the heck is this last enemy?
Not bad! Not bad at all! Way to go, kid! Oh, look what I found!
Got him. He was hiding from us. Oh, wave 48. Almost done.
Time to build! This'll work.
Sweet. Time's up! They're here!
Guardian!
Oh, we got another Guardian.
What a waste of ugly! I gotta learn to count my shots!
Guardian!
That was just a pile of junk!
Oh, this is not good.
That's a failed experiment.
He's freaking regenerating all of his health. Awesome. Alright, I gotta deal with the rest of the wave as opposed to dealing with that Guardian.
Just did you a favor. Sniper!
Be my friend! Guardian! Death from above!
How's the rush? I'm not done with you yet.
I think I got bleed on that Guardian. I killed a Grenadier. That definitely wasn't what I was aiming for.
I'm down!
Ah, got a problem here.
Oh yeah!
Use more.
What a waste of ugly. Suck it, dickwad.
Two more waves, guys. Almost.
That can't be the last of it. Resupply and regroup. Slick. I know.
this will do. Time's up.
That's how it's done. Go.
Not one sniper.
Finish the bomb.
I need some ammo over here. Out of the way. Guardian mark.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Way to go, kid.
I'm gonna save my alt for the boss.
You're good to go.
Medic! Another heavy destroyed. I'm gonna kill the shit out of you. Woo-hoo, nice.
That was bullshit.
Let's do this. Guardian!
Time to rush. I'm not done with you yet.
Frag out! Sentry reloading.
It gets intense when you have those guardians.
Nice work.
Red!
I recommend you dump the rest of your money in the Fabricator at the beginning of wave 50 so that any fortifications you lose can easily be repaired.
You just leave this lying around?
And then just wait to see what you're gonna get. I'll go ahead and get a pre-active.
Time's up. Here it comes.
Mark the Kestrel. This is gonna hurt.
Man down. Ready to rock and roll. Be my friend.
Save your alt. Once again, very important. Save that alt. Need another bleed shot on him. Boom shot if you have to when you're not getting stunned. You got to keep some kind of bleed on that. Swap out your GL.
Destroyed that heavy.
Take aim.
Busted that track.
Just keep him marked and keep your eyes out for when the Guardian comes, because the Guardian will come in. That sentry's right in my way a little bit.
I gotta learn to count my shots. Castro spotted. Got him.
I knew my bleed would take out that.
Too easy.
I need to get another weapon.
Let's do this. Guys, thanks for playing. Oh, goodbye.
Thin out the wave. Grab the next GL. Mark him at wait. Drop your alt. You want to drop your alt while you have a GL shot in flight so that both hit at the same time. And that is how you do Allfather's Garden on Master. Or Allfather's Arena, I should say. Not Garden. I don't know why I keep calling it Garden. Maybe because it's like a Garden of Death, but there you go. Map done. I did go down a lot, but that happens on Master, especially when you're standing out there as JD trying to spam the hell out of rockets. We got about just under 700,000 team score. Not too bad. 16,000 XP. I got a confirmed kill and a Razor Hail. Not bad. 18,000 with boost and 150 honor. 58 ribbons. Hell yeah, I'll take it. Getting the gold card's a nice addition there for JD. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I will do my best to help you out. If you did enjoy the video, slap that like button, as that greatly helps me out. And of course, subscribe for more content. Until next time, stay frosty.